What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Scott here and welcome back to FudgeMuppet. We know a lot of you have been keen for more Fallout 4 builds, and today we are here to deliver an epic new entry into our Fallout build series. With just one aesthetic mod added into the mix, we've been able to go for an exciting new character with a badass appearance and a unique role-playing experience. This is the Enclave Soldier. The presence of the Enclave may not be felt strongly in the Commonwealth, but when this highly trained professional operator walks through the wasteland, raiders and mutants alike will run and hide. In a jet black suit of Enclave armor with radiant orange eyes, the only thing more threatening than the Enclave soldier's suit of dark steel is the huge Gatling laser or the glowing plasma rifle gripped in his gauntlets. With almost all traces of the Enclave absent from Boston, this soldier will have to fend for himself, finding a new group to align himself with. Fortunately, years of rigorous training, mental tests, and high-pressure scenarios make this one-man army more deadly than anything else inhabiting the post-war wastes. Before we get started, I'll re-emphasize the fact that while it is mostly vanilla, we will be using one mod in this build, and it is vital to create the ultimate character aesthetic. That is, of course, the Enclave Exo 2 Power Armor mod, so be sure to check the description for a link to it. Also in the description are timestamps to help you navigate throughout the video, but with all that said, let's get started with the Enclave soldier's backstory and basic values. The Enclave was the second son in a suburban Boston family. The role of the second son was generally the same for most children. There was a constant state of rivalry between him and his brother, yet they had the support of their parents to ever prevent the competition from getting unsporting. The Enclave soldier didn't mind, and he had quite a prosperous childhood, prosperous being a bit of an understatement. He excelled at school, relishing in the competition that were his grades, and he was similarly successful in sport, playing at a state level in soccer, football, and baseball. Teachers and coaches constantly gave him counsel, telling him where to apply his talents and what career to follow when high school came to an end. But to the Enclave soldier, it was much simpler than all that. His father was a veteran of the US Armed Forces, and come to think of it, that was probably why competition was so encouraged in his household. As far as the Enclave soldier was concerned, he would follow in his father's footsteps. He was raised to be patriotic, and even though his parents didn't necessarily encourage him to, he was determined to excel in the services just as he had in school. Being true to his word, the soldier was recruited into the Boston Regiment of the Armed Forces, but first he married his high school sweetheart at the ripe age of 18. Nora went to live with his parents while he served, and he promised to return with money and glory. Unsurprisingly, he topped the scores for physical tests and mental examinations, and was given the pick of the lot when it came to specialization. The Enclave soldier chose to follow the path of frontline infantry, despite his talents in the engineering fields. He served valiantly for all of half a year before he was plucked from his battalion and chosen to serve in an elite Special Forces unit. The physical and mental training required for this unit was intensely challenging, even to him. But once again, he thrived and succeeded spectacularly. His potential was becoming undeniable, and it was clear that the US Armed Forces were training him to become a super soldier. After undertaking many missions, he was introduced to cutting-edge technology, including space-age weaponry and majestic suits of highly advanced power armor. Said armor accentuated the abilities of the soldiers wearing the suits, and the Enclave soldier learned to wear a set of black-painted T-51 armor like a second skin. He was trained to react quickly in the hulking suit. He was taught to perform precise motions like firing and reloading rifles while wearing the gauntlets, but the most exhilarating part was the movement. He leaped from multi-story buildings, battering through the air before landing with a crash on the target painted on the concrete floor. After enough jumps, the concrete itself was split and dented while the armor held firm. Soon he was handpicked yet again to join a special ops unit, the name of which was classified even to him until he could be briefed by government officials. He was flown to Washington, D.C. to carry out his training, and he met with some of the key political figures in the war, including the president himself. It was in these following years that the soldier learned many of America's confidential plans, should the world sink to total atomic annihilation. The grandiosity of the plan set forth by the government and the top scientists would have put the wildest dreams of the conspiracy theorists to shame. The inevitability of nuclear war was a given to the US government at this point, and the beginnings of the Enclave plan to wait out the chaos from the Poseidon oil rig. There were even ideas of colonizing a new planet when all was lost to radiation, destroying Earth in their wake. The Enclave soldier didn't know whether this exact plan was confirmed, but even the thought of it required serious thinking time to digest. The American government did not plan to be one step ahead of the enemy, but 10 steps ahead at all times. Working for the Enclave Enclave, this soldier was privy to a lot of confidential info, but even then there was still much that wasn't revealed to him. Either way, he understood that any shady activities the government carried out were ultimately beneficial for the survival of the United States and the destruction of communism. His professionalism and loyalty to the cause did not waver, and he was proven to be very trustworthy, being sent on various top-secret missions, the last of which involved the seizure of crucial intelligence from a facility in Chinese-occupied territory. His task was simple: drop from the vertibird to the roof of a skyscraper, attain the documents killing any witnesses, and then rendezvous with the vertibird on the roof again in precisely 5 minutes. The vertibird flew very high up to avoid being seen, but he knew that when the vertibird came back to pick him up, it would need to come right down to the helipad, making it visible to any onlookers. The Enclave soldier had a long way to fall, and he enjoyed the moment as much as he could. He landed with a thud on the helipad, using his extended arms, a foot and one knee to cushion the fall. From there, he pulled his silenced assault rifle from his belt and made his way down a staircase. On the top floor of the building, he could see countless unoccupied offices. It was only one office at the end of the corridor which was guarded by armed men. He took them out silently with a well-placed round in each of their heads. He dragged the 4 bodies into the office with him to prevent them from being spotted on the security cameras, and then he used the might of his steel gauntlets to rip open a hidden lockbox. The documents were expected to be around this area after all. Within the box was the intel the US government had entrusted him to secure. He made his escape quick and clean, returning to the helipad just in time. As the vertibird came into view, so did one remaining Chinese officer. The officer held a missile launcher aimed at the vertibird. Instinctively, the soldier took aim and fired at the enemy, but the rocket was already dispatched. He watched it sail through the air towards the ship and followed it in his reticule. He squeezed the trigger and the bullets flew true, exploding the missile in mid-flight. They made their escape with the documents intact, breathing uneasy from the close call. The Enclave soldier was commended for his bravery and clinical execution under pressure. After another year of service, he was given a retirement package, enough money to live comfortably for the rest of his life. The one condition was that, should a particularly secret government group ever need him, he must be ready to don the armor once again for the country. Unfortunately, that day did come, but there was not enough time to fly the soldier and his family out of Boston before the bombs fell. Instead, they resorted to giving him a spot in the nearest Vault-Tec facility. The Enclave officials who made the arrangements knew full well what kind of things would go down in the vaults, but their hands were forced. And they wanted their super soldier alive and well when the world awoke from devastation. After escaping the vault and managing to suppress the grief he felt at the loss of his family, the Enclave soldier will be very concerned. Whatever remnants of the Enclave there may be were likely far from here, maybe in Washington DC or on the oil rig preparing to evacuate or reclaim Earth. The Enclave soldier hopes a plan to destroy the Earth won't happen while he is stuck in the Commonwealth, but for now, he has more important tasks to take care of. Despite 200 years of stasis, it won't take long for the Enclave soldier to be operating at 100% once again. The bastards who kidnapped his son have no idea who they are dealing with. To the super soldier, following the trail and finding his son is going to be a walk in the park. However, once he discovers that the Enclave presence in the wasteland is essentially non-existent, he may be swayed by another faction with some comparable values. I'm of course talking about the Institute. In the process of recovering his son, he will learn about them and will even meet them face to face. The Institute believe in the greater good, immoral sacrifices necessary for the future of humanity, and they aim to achieve these goals without having to blow up any planets. Not that the Enclave was certainly going to do this, but the Enclave soldier knew this idea had been tossed around. All of these aspects of the Institute serve his best interests as long as he has no other options. Due to this, the Enclave soldier will side with the Institute. At the start of the game, the Enclave soldier's special stats will be 10 strength, 1 perception, 4 endurance, 1 charisma, 10 intelligence, 1 agility, and 1 luck. The special book under Sean's old crib will go into endurance to bulk this super soldier up a little bit when he grows accustomed to the wasteland and its perils. Out of the gate, we have 2 stats that will dominate the Enclave soldier's playstyle. Strength is the first, and this resilient warrior will be capable of all kinds of feats from within his suit of Enclave X02 power armor. With strength, he'll be able to keep his suit functioning at its maximum potential, and he'll be able to charge down waves of enemies and punch them to a pulp. The other main stat is intelligence, and this is also a given with his backstory. He rose to the top of the military on his strength and endurance, but he was only involved in classified top secret meetings because of an ability to also apply his keen intellect. With intelligence, he'll be able to get the most out of his power armor armor, while also knowing his way around technology and medicine. Lastly, endurance may be lacking at the start of the game, but we have to cut him some slack as his meat vessel has kind of been sitting in a freezer for 2 centuries. Soon this will be as impressive as his strength and his intelligence, but with his stats in mind, let's get right into the essential perks to take from each. The first perk to take from Strength will be Iron Fist, and while hand-to-hand combat isn't his primary means of fighting, it is definitely useful considering the mountain of steel he walks around in. 5 ranks of Iron Fist will make punching attacks double as powerful, and critical hits in VATS will paralyze the target. He'll also have a chance to cripple or disarm his opponents with a punch. Then we want Armorer and Blacksmith. With these perks, the Enclave soldier will have access to many necessary power armor modifications. Next is Heavy Gunner, and this is the big perk to turn his Gatling laser into an absolute death machine. 5 ranks of this will double heavy gun damage, give a chance to stagger, and will improve heavy gun hipfire accuracy. Then we have Rooted, and with all 3 ranks of this, the Enclave soldier gains 50% more punching damage and plus 50 damage resistance while standing still. If you are attacked by melee opponents while you're not moving, they may even be disarmed. Finally, from Strength, we have Pain Train. While wearing your Exo 2 power armor, sprinting into enemies will cause massive damage, knocking everyone in your path to the ground. Also, impact landing near foes will inflict more damage. Perception isn't an important stat for this build, but there is one useful perk to drop 5 points into, and that is Rifleman. With this, non-auto rifles are twice as powerful, they'll ignore 30% of a target's armor, and then you'll have a high chance to cripple a limb with your bullets. From Endurance, we will not be taking any perks, but as I alluded to earlier, we will be buffing up the main stat. So drop a total of 4 perk points into this one. When we add the special book to this and the bobblehead, the stat reaches 10. Then we have Charisma, and the last thing to do here is put 1 point into the base stat. Then grab all ranks of Lone Wanderer. With this, you'll gain 25 action points, a 25% increase to overall damage, and 30% decrease to overall damage taken, and 100 extra carry weight when traveling without a companion. Last but not least, we have Intelligence. Take 2 ranks of Medic to increase the effectiveness of your healing items. Stimpaks will heal 60% of your lost health, while Radaway will remove 60% of total radiation. Then 3 ranks of Hacker will ensure that you can bypass all difficulties of locked terminals in the Commonwealth. All ranks of Science will allow you to improve your laser and plasma weapons with all of the appropriate high-tech mods. And finally, Nuclear Physicist makes fusion cores last twice as long, and you'll have a unique ability to eject fusion cores like devastating grenades. And so to give you a very brief rundown of the playstyle, the Enclave soldier will engage in combat, usually by charging in wearing his power armor, utilizing the Pain Train sprint to debilitate nearby foes. From there, he can whip out one of his high damage weapons like the heavy Gatling laser, or the more lightweight plasma rifle to start slaying. If the mood strikes you, you can even opt for hand-to-hand combat, assuming you aren't copping too much damage from ranged enemies. At the end of the game, including all bobbleheads, the special book, and perk points, but no gear, the Enclave soldier's special stats will be 11 strength, 2 perception, 10 endurance, 3 charisma, 11 intelligence, 2 agility, and 2 luck. As for gear, the Enclave soldier will wear the unique Enclave Exo 2 power armor from the mod of the same name. This is perfect for an Enclave aesthetic. Upgrade all pieces with the Tesla aesthetic option, plus max out the armor rating to Mark 6. For the chest piece, get the Tesla coil upgrade to damage nearby foes. For the headpiece, get the internal database for a +2 intelligence boost. For the arms, get Tesla braces for additional energy damage for unarmed attacks. And then on the legs, get optimized servos to reduce sprinting AP cost. What you wear under the armor is totally up to you, but armor rating won't matter much as you will never go into battle without your power armor. As for weapons, you want a fully upgraded plasma rifle with the improved splitter to make it function like a shotgun, and then the reflex sight. If you want to use a legendary variant, we recommend Experiment 18A as it grants 25% faster fire rate and 15% faster reload. Your other main weapon aside from your power armor fists will be an upgraded Gatling laser with a boosted wave emitter and a standard barrel. We prefer this barrel for the rapid fire, and also do note that we can't get the overcharged capacitor because it needs 2 ranks of gun nut. The fiery damage from the boosted wave emitter is cool and strong anyway. Once again, if you want a legendary variant, we picked Eternus as it has unlimited ammo capacity. This will require you to do the Nuka World DLC, and you can rationalize this by saying that you can get to control the criminals on the surface while also directing the Institute from the shadows. This allows you to have full control below and above the surface and helps to destabilize destabilize any competing factions who may otherwise interfere with the Institute's research. The Enclave soldier uses the Lone Wanderer perk and will therefore not have any need for companions in his travels, and as for settlements, he will use the Institute headquarters as his base for everything he needs. If you'd like to build a designated place to keep your power armor, go for it, but we'll only have the one set, and we'll be wearing it most of the time. Subscribe to FudgeMuppet if you're new to the channel and want to see more Fallout builds, and if you enjoyed the video, show your support by liking it and sharing it with your friends. Don't forget the timestamps for the video navigation can be found in the description, along with a link to the X02 mod. As always, thanks for watching. I've been Scott, and I look forward to nerding out with you again very soon.